Captain Jack Reed of the Earth Space Marines rubbed his eyes, trying to adjust to the harsh white light in his cell. The last thing he remembered was his deep space patrol encountering an unidentified vessel at the edge of the solar system. Now, he was strapped to some kind of examination table, surrounded by tall, spindly creatures with large oval heads and six-fingered hands. "Subject appears to be regaining consciousness," one of the aliens said, its voice oddly melodic despite the clinical tone. "Vital signs are stable. Proceed with the cognitive assessment." Jack struggled against his restraints. "Who are you? What do you want from me?" The aliens exchanged glances, their large, almond-shaped eyes blinking in unison. The tallest one stepped forward. "I am lead researcher Trell of the Vexari Exploration Fleet. You have been selected for our compatibility trials." "Compatibility for what?" Jack demanded, his military training kicking in as he assessed his surroundings. The room was sparse but filled with technology beyond anything he'd ever seen. Holographic displays floated in the air, showing what appeared to be his anatomical scans. "The Vexari Collective requires new genetic material to overcome our species' decline," Trell explained, manipulating a floating screen. "Your species has shown remarkable adaptability. We have been monitoring Earth for decades." Jack's blood ran cold. "You're experimenting on humans. We prefer the term evaluating potential symbiosis," another alien interjected. "I am secondary researcher Nix. Your particular genetic structure shows promising compatibility with our enhancement protocols." Before Jack could respond, Nix pressed a device against his temple. Pain shot through his skull as images flooded his mind. Star charts, alien languages, mathematical equations beyond human comprehension. He screamed as his consciousness expanded, feeling like his brain was being rewired. Hours or days later, Jack couldn't tell. The pain subsided. When he opened his eyes, the world looked different. He could see energy patterns flowing through the walls, could understand the alien technology surrounding him. "Remarkable," Trell noted, studying displays that monitored Jack's neural activity. First human subject to survive full integration with the Vexari knowledge matrix. Previous subjects experienced critical neural failure. Jack realized with horror that he wasn't the first. "How many humans have you taken?" Nix tilted her head. 17 test subjects before you. None achieved successful integration." "You murdered 17 people," Jack growled, newfound energy surging through him. The restraint suddenly felt weaker. "Their sacrifice advanced our understanding," Trell replied without emotion. "Your success means we can proceed to Phase 2, creating a hybrid leadership caste to guide both our species." As they spoke, Jack discovered he could understand the alien technology through his enhanced perception. The restraints were controlled by a simple neural interface. Focusing his thoughts, he sent a disruptive command. The restraints snapped open. The aliens reacted with surprise, reaching for weapons, but Jack was faster. His military training combined with his new abilities made him deadly. Within moments, he had incapacitated both researchers and made his way to the door. Alarms blared as he navigated the labyrinthine corridors of what he now realized was a massive spaceship. Other humans in various states of experimentation were held in chambers along the way. Jack couldn't leave them behind. "I'm getting you all out of here," he promised the first terrified prisoner he freed, a young woman named Lisa who had been taken from a research station on Mars. "Who are you?" she asked, trembling. Jack paused, feeling the alien knowledge integrating with his human determination. "I'm the beginning of their end," he answered, his eyes glowing with newfound power. The Vexari ship was a maze of curved corridors and pulsing biomechanical technology. Jack led the small group of freed humans, 7 in total, the only survivors of the experiments, toward what his enhanced senses told him was a hangar bay. The alien's knowledge flowing through his mind gave him a complete understanding of the vessel's layout. "How are you doing this?" asked Tom, a former asteroid miner who had been missing for months. "You can read their language, operate their tech." "They did something to me," Jack explained as he placed his hand on a security panel, causing the door to slide open. "Tried to merge their knowledge with my brain." They didn't expect it to work so well. Lisa moved closer to Jack. Or maybe they didn't expect you to keep your humanity afterward. That comment struck Jack deeply. Despite the alien information crowding his thoughts, his human heart burned with righteous anger. Each freed prisoner strengthened his resolve to escape and warn Earth. The group reached a junction where 2 Vexari guards stood watch. Before they could raise an alarm, Jack mentally interfaced with their weapon systems, causing them to short-circuit. The aliens fell back in surprise as Jack rushed forward, disabling them with precise strikes. Their physiology is fragile, he explained to the others. Strong exoskeletons but weak joint structures. As they continued toward the hangar, Jack accessed the ship's communication network through his enhanced abilities. He discovered something that made his blood run cold. This isn't just an exploration vessel, he told the others. It's the vanguard of an invasion fleet. They've been preparing for decades, studying human weaknesses. Why? Asked Emma, a physicist who had been abducted from Europa Station. What do they want with Earth? Our genetic diversity, Jack replied grimly. Their species is dying from centuries of genetic stagnation. They need our DNA to survive, but they don't view us as equals. Just resources to be harvested. The group reached the hangar bay, finding several scout ships primed for launch. Thanks to the knowledge transfer, Jack could pilot them. As he helped everyone board, the ship's main alarm system activated. A resonant voice echoed through the corridors. This is High Commander Voss of the Vexari Collective, the human test. Subject has escaped containment. He possesses critical collective knowledge. Capture is authorized by any means necessary. Jack hurried the last of the humans onto the scout ship, but as he prepared to board, a containment field activated, separating him from the others. Go, he shouted to Lisa, who had taken the controls. Get back to Earth. Warn them. We can't leave you, she protested. I'll find another way, Jack promised. Earth needs to know what's coming. As the scout ship launched, Jack turned to face a squad of Vexari soldiers led by a tall, imposing figure, High Commander Voss himself. Impressive, Voss said, his voice deep and resonant. No species has ever resisted integration so creatively. We're full of surprises, Jack replied, his mind racing through possible escape routes. Indeed. Which is why your kind is so valuable. Voss gestured, and his soldiers lowered their weapons. You have achieved what we thought impossible, complete integration without loss of original identity. You are unique in the galaxy. Jack tensed, ready for a trap. I won't help you invade my home. Perhaps not, Voss replied calmly. But you might consider an alternative that benefits both our species. Your mind now holds the solution to our genetic decline, and you understand our technology, our culture. You could be the bridge between humans and Vexari. A bridge, Jack scoffed. Or a puppet? A leader, Voss corrected, one who understands both worlds. 3 days passed aboard the Vexari mothership, as Jack engaged in a battle of wits with High Commander Voss. The escape of the other human prisoners had forced the aliens to reconsider their approach. Jack found himself moved from a cell to modest quarters. His status shifted from experimental subject to reluctant diplomat. Your Earth governments are responding to our communication attempts with hostility, Voss informed Jack as they stood in the ship's command center, overlooking a holographic display of the solar system. The escaped humans have reached Mars, colony, and spread news of our presence. Jack felt a surge of pride. Did you expect them to welcome you after what you've done? Abducting and experimenting on humans isn't exactly a friendly introduction. Our species operates on different ethical frameworks, Voss replied. Survival necessitates certain actions you might find distasteful. Murdering 17 people goes beyond distasteful, Jack retorted. Voss's large eyes blinked slowly. And yet you survived. More than survived. You thrived. The knowledge matrix integration has taken root in ways our scientists never anticipated. You understand our technology, our language, our culture, all while maintaining your human perspective. Jack had been pondering this strange duality himself. The alien knowledge continued to integrate with his consciousness, granting him insights into Vexari science and history. He now understood their desperation, Their species had been spacefaring for millennia, but genetic stagnation had left them unable to adapt to new environments or resist emerging diseases. Their population was declining rapidly. There must be other solutions besides harvesting humans, Jack argued. We have explored countless options across 12 galaxies, Voss responded. Human genetic adaptability is unique. Your species evolved rapidly on a single planet with diverse conditions. The Vexari spread across stars before developing sufficient genetic diversity. An alarm sounded and a junior officer approached Voss with urgency. Earth Defense Forces have mobilized High Commander. 3 battlecruisers approaching from Mars. Jack felt torn between loyalty to humanity and his growing understanding of the Vexari plight. This will escalate to war if you don't change your approach. What do you propose? Voss asked, surprising Jack with his apparent openness. Let me speak to them, Jack said. Not as your prisoner or experiment, but as a mediator. I understand both sides now. And why would you help us after what we've done to you? Jack hesitated, sorting through his complicated feelings. Because I've seen your species' future through the knowledge matrix. Extinction within 3 generations. And I've seen what panic will do to humanity if this turns to war. Neither outcome is acceptable. Voss studied him for a long moment. You would negotiate on behalf of the species that experimented on you? I would negotiate on behalf of both species, Jack corrected. For mutual survival, not domination. After consideration, Voss nodded. Very well. Establish communication with the Earth vessels. Minutes later, Jack found himself facing General Rodriguez of the Earth Defense Force on a holographic display. Captain Reed, Rodriguez said with visible relief. The survivors reported you were still aboard. We're preparing an extraction mission. General, I need you to hold your position, Jack replied. I'm here voluntarily now. The situation is more complex than it appears. They've compromised you, Rodriguez concluded with alarm. No, Jack insisted. They've changed me, but I'm still human. I now understand enough about Vexari biology and technology to propose a solution that doesn't involve war. What kind of solution could possibly justify their actions? Rodriguez demanded. Jack took a deep breath. A symbiotic one, not through force or experimentation, but through mutual exchange. The Vexari have medical technology centuries beyond ours. They can cure diseases we consider terminal. In exchange, they need help with genetic diversity, voluntary contributions, ethically sourced. You expect us to trust them after they abducted our people? No, Jack replied firmly. I expect you to trust me, the human who understands them better than anyone else could. The negotiations stretched over weeks as Earth's military maintained a defensive perimeter around the Vexari mothership. Jack found himself in the unprecedented position of speaking for both species, his unique perspective making him the only possible bridge between 2 civilizations on the brink of conflict. The Council has agreed to consider your proposal, General Rodriguez informed Jack during their 8th video conference. Earth's newly formed Alien Contact Council, hastily assembled from world leaders and scientific experts, had been debating the situation daily. But they demand proof of the Vexari's medical technology before any agreement. Jack turned to Voss, who had been watching silently. Your move, Commander. Voss nodded. We will provide demonstration of our regenerative capabilities. Select 10 humans with conditions your medicine cannot treat. We will heal them without invasive procedures. The offer was transmitted to Earth, and within days, 10 volunteers with terminal illnesses arrived on a neutral space station established between Mars and Earth. Jack supervised the treatments personally, watching in awe as Vexari medical technology repaired damaged organs, eliminated cancer cells, and even regenerated severed nerve pathways in a paralyzed patient. This is just the beginning, Jack explained to the Earth delegation as they observed, a woman walking for the first time in 15 years. Their medical knowledge could eliminate disease as we know it. Dr. Helen Park, Earth's leading xenobiologist, remained skeptical. And in exchange, they want our genetic material. How can we be sure they won't use it to create biological weapons against us? Because I understand their science now, Jack replied. I can detect any attempt at weaponization, and more importantly, I understand their desperation. They need allies, not enemies. The successful demonstration shifted public opinion on Earth. News of miraculous healings spread, and the initial fear of the aliens began to transform into cautious curiosity. Jack's role grew more prominent as he worked to create a framework for cooperation that would benefit both species while protecting human autonomy. During this time, Jack's enhanced abilities continued to develop. The alien knowledge merged seamlessly with his human intuition, creating insights neither species could achieve alone. He began designing hybrid technologies that combined Vexari efficiency with human innovation. One evening, as Jack reviewed the latest draft of the cooperation agreement in his quarters, Voss paid him an unexpected visit. The Council of Elders has reached a decision, the commander announced. They wish to formalize your position. What position? Jack asked cautiously. Among our people, when a crisis threatens our existence, we select an emergency arbiter, one with absolute authority, to negotiate and implement solutions. The elders have chosen you. Jack was stunned. Me? But I'm human. You are more than human now, Voss countered. Yet not Vexari either. You stand between worlds, the only one who can truly understand both perspectives. The knowledge matrix, integration has succeeded beyond our expectations. Was that your plan all along? Jack asked, suspicious of this convenient development. No, Voss admitted. The original plan was far less equal. But your adaptation changed everything. You've shown us another path. Jack considered the implications carefully. And Earth? How would they view this arrangement? That depends on how you present it, Voss replied. You could be humanity's greatest advocate, or its betrayer. The weight of responsibility settled on Jack's shoulders. With his new position, he could ensure the Vexari kept their promises. He could protect Earth from exploitation. But would humans trust him, knowing how he had been changed? I'll accept, Jack finally said, on one condition. The experimentation program ends permanently. Any future integration between our species happens only with informed consent. The elders anticipated this requirement, Voss said. They agree. As Jack prepared to announce his new role to Earth's representatives, he wondered if he was making the right choice. He was neither fully human nor alien anymore, but perhaps that was exactly what both species needed. 6 months later, the first joint human Vexari medical center opened on the moon. Jack stood at the entrance watching as patients from Earth arrived for treatments impossible with human medicine alone. Beside him, Lisa, one of the first humans he had rescued, now served as his chief of staff. Hard to believe how much has changed, she remarked, observing the humans and Vexari working together. When I first met you, we were running for our lives. Jack nodded, still sometimes surprised by his own transformation. As emergency arbiter for the Vexari and appointed ambassador for Earth, he had helped design a cooperative framework that was transforming both societies. Not everyone is happy with the arrangement, Jack reminded her. The Earth First movement is still gaining supporters. The transition hadn't been seamless. While many humans embraced the medical advances the Vexari offered, others remained deeply suspicious. Protests had erupted in major cities, with demonstrators accusing Earth's governments of selling out humanity for alien technology. Ambassador Reed, a voice called. Jack turned to see Dr. Park approaching with a data tablet. The initial results from the voluntary genetic contribution program are ready for review. This had been the most controversial aspect of the agreement, allowing humans to voluntarily contribute genetic material to help the Vexari overcome their species' decline. Jack had insisted on complete transparency, with human scientists monitoring every step of the process. How many volunteers? Jack asked, taking the tablet. Over 20,000 so far, Dr. Park replied. Mostly from families who've benefited from Vexari medical treatments. The diversity of the samples exceeds the Vexari's expectations. Jack reviewed the data, his enhanced mind processing the complex genetic information instantly. These integration rates are better than projected, The Vexari Council will be pleased. As they discussed the findings, an alarm sounded through the facility. Security personnel, both human and Vexari, moved rapidly to secure the entrance. "What's happening?" Jack demanded, accessing the facility's security network through his neural interface. "Earth First extremists," Lisa reported, receiving information through her communicator. "They've breached the lower level. They're claiming to have explosives." Jack's mind raced. An attack on the medical center would set back human-Vexari relations catastrophically. "Evacuate the patients. I'll handle this." "Jack, it's too dangerous," Lisa protested. "They specifically want you. They've been calling you a traitor to humanity." "Which is why I need to face them," Jack replied, already moving toward the lower level. "Keep the Vexari security forces back." Human extremists confronted by aliens will only escalate the situation. Using his enhanced senses, Jack located the intruders, 5 armed individuals planting devices around the facility's power core. He approached alone, hands raised. "That's far enough," their leader ordered, a man Jack recognized from intelligence briefings as Marcus Ward, former military and vocal opponent of alien cooperation. "I'm unarmed, Marcus," Jack said calmly. "Let's talk about what you're trying to accomplish here." "There's nothing to discuss, traitor," Marcus spat. "You've given aliens access to human DNA. You're helping them infiltrate our species." "I'm helping prevent a war," Jack corrected, "and saving 2 species in the process." "By turning humans into them?" Marcus gestured to Jack's slightly altered appearance. His eyes now had a subtle luminescence, a side effect of the knowledge matrix integration. "No one is being changed against their will," Jack insisted. "Every aspect of this cooperation is voluntary and transparent." "Except for you and the other abductees," Marcus countered. "You were their experiment." Jack stepped closer. "Yes, I was. What they did was wrong. That's why I negotiated an end to those practices. Now I'm ensuring both species benefit from cooperation instead of destroying each other." He could see doubt flicker across some of the attackers' faces. Jack pressed his advantage, drawing on both his human empathy and Vexari knowledge. "The patients upstairs, many of them children, are receiving treatments for conditions that would have been death sentences 6 months ago. Is that what you came to destroy?" Marcus hesitated. "We came to stop alien infiltration." "Then let me show you the truth," Jack offered. "See the research for yourself. If you still believe humanity is being exploited afterward, I'll resign my position immediately." The tense standoff stretched for several moments before Marcus lowered his weapon slightly. "You'd step down?" "If that's what's best for humanity." "Yes," Jack promised. "Despite what you believe, my loyalty remains with my species." The aftermath of the attempted bombing thrust Jack into an even more prominent public role. Rather than suppressing the incident, he used it to address humanity's fears directly. In a globally broadcast town hall, he invited Marcus Ward, now under house arrest instead of imprisoned, to question him alongside scientists, ethicists, and skeptical citizens. "The fear isn't irrational," Jack acknowledged as billions watched. "Humanity has encountered a technologically superior species with a history of unethical behavior toward us. Skepticism is appropriate. Then why should we trust them now?" Marcus challenged. "Because you say so? A man who's been fundamentally altered by their technology?" Jack nodded. "Fair point. Don't trust me or them blindly. That's why every aspect of our cooperation is subject to independent verification. Human scientists have full access to Vexari research. Every genetic sample is traceable. Nothing happens in secret." The broadcast transformed public perception. Jack's willingness to engage critics directly, coupled with his obvious retention of human values despite his enhancement, reassured many fence-sitters. Within weeks, volunteer rates for the genetic contribution program doubled. Meanwhile, the first generation of Vexari to benefit from human genetic diversity was developing. Jack visited the nursery on the mothership, where Vexari infants showed remarkable improvements in adaptability and immune response. "They will be the salvation of our species," Trell, the researcher who had originally experimented on Jack, commented. The scientist had been demoted after Jack's rise to power but remained involved in the genetic program. They're children, not saviors, Jack corrected, watching the infants with their caretakers. They deserve normal lives, not the burden of species salvation. This perspective, treating the results of genetic cooperation as individuals rather than resources, represented Jack's ongoing effort to reshape Vexari ethics. Just as he advocated for human interests in negotiations, he pushed the Vexari to adopt more humane practices. As weeks turned to months, Jack found himself increasingly torn between his dual roles. Earth governments sought his advice on technological advancement. The Vexari elders relied on his judgment for species-saving decisions. The pressure was immense. "You need to delegate more," Lisa told him during a rare quiet moment in their lunar office. "You're trying to be the bridge between species, but one person can't bear that weight forever." Jack sighed, feeling the truth in her words. "I didn't ask for this position." "No one ever asks to become indispensable," she replied. "But you've created a framework dependent on your unique perspective. That's not sustainable." Her observation sparked an idea that had been forming in Jack's enhanced mind. Perhaps the solution wasn't a single bridge between species, but many. That evening, he approached Voss with a proposal. "The knowledge matrix integration that changed me. It was meant to create a hybrid leadership caste, correct?" "Yes," Voss confirmed, "though your case was unique. Previous attempts failed." "Because they were involuntary," Jack concluded. "The human subjects resisted the integration, consciously or unconsciously. But what if we offered the option to volunteers? Humans who understand the risks and benefits who choose integration." Voss considered the idea. "A cohort of human Vexari hybrids, all with your abilities to understand both perspectives. Not just humans," Jack clarified. "Vexari volunteers too. True integration requires both species to adapt." The proposal was revolutionary, creating a cadre of enhanced individuals from both species who could serve as interspecies, diplomats, scientists, and leaders. Each would maintain their original identity while gaining understanding of the other species at a fundamental level. "The elders will resist allowing Vexari to be altered with human characteristics," Voss warned, "and many humans will oppose further integration," Jack acknowledged. "But it's the logical next step. I can't be the only bridge forever." When Jack presented the proposal to Earth's leadership, reactions were mixed. Some saw it as the path to true cooperative evolution. Others feared creating a separate class of enhanced beings who might feel superior to their original species. "We would need extensive safeguards," General Rodriguez noted. "Psychological screening of volunteers, ongoing monitoring." "Of course," Jack agreed. "This isn't about creating superhumans or super aliens. It's about building understanding through shared perspective." As debate raged on both sides, Jack realized he had initiated a transformation far beyond what either species had imagined when they first encountered each other. The question wasn't whether humans and Vexari would cooperate, but what new form of existence might emerge from their union. 5 years after Jack's abduction, the Harmony Initiative celebrated its 3rd anniversary. On a terraformed section of Mars, human and Vexari diplomats gathered to commemorate the program's success. Jack stood on the podium, looking out at the audience. A mix of unmodified humans, Vexari, and a growing number of integrated individuals like himself. "When I was first taken aboard a Vexari ship," Jack began, "I could never have imagined standing here today. Our species met through conflict and misunderstanding, but we've forged a future based on cooperation and mutual respect." The journey hadn't been easy. The voluntary integration program had faced resistance from conservatives on both sides. Religious groups questioned the ethics of human enhancement. Vexari traditionalists feared the dilution of their ancient culture. But the results spoke for themselves. The Vexari population was rebounding for the first time in centuries. Human medical science had advanced decades beyond its previous state, and the integrated individuals, now numbering over 500, were pioneering new fields of science, art, and philosophy that neither species could have developed alone. After the ceremony, Jack met privately with the Joint Council, the governing body that had replaced his sole authority as mediator between species. Half human, half Vexari, with both integrated and unmodified members, the Council embodied the new cooperative approach. The Deep Space Exploration Program is ready to launch, announced Kai, a human astronaut who had volunteered for integration. 3 ships, mixed crews, heading to the Andromeda Galaxy. The Genetic Diversity Project has exceeded all projections, added Mira, one of the first Vexari to undergo integration with human traits. The latest generation shows both increased adaptability and retention of core Vexari abilities. Jack listened with satisfaction as the council members reported progress across all initiatives. His role had evolved from emergency arbiter to respected advisor. The framework he had established was now self-sustaining. As the meeting concluded, Lisa, who had remained unmodified by choice but served as Deputy Director of Integration Services, approached him. "The Historical Society wants to know if you'll finally allow them to create an exhibit about your experience," she said with a smile. "They're calling it, From Experiment to Leader, the Reed Transformation." Jack chuckled. "Still feels strange to be considered a historical figure. You changed the course of 2 civilizations," she reminded him, "whether you wanted to or not." Jack gazed out the window at the Martian landscape, where human and Vexari architects had created a stunning hybrid city, curves and angles blending in structures that housed both species comfortably. "I had help," he acknowledged. "Even at the beginning, when I was just trying to survive and free the other prisoners, I wasn't alone." "No one accomplishes great things alone," Lisa agreed, "but someone has to take the first step." Later that evening, Jack visited the memorial erected for the 17 humans who had died during the original Vexari experiments. Their sacrifice was not forgotten, even as relations between the species flourished. Jack made a point of reminding both humans and Vexari that their newfound harmony had emerged from painful beginnings. As he placed his hand on the memorial stone, he reflected on the journey that had brought him here. One moment he had been an unwilling experiment, fighting for survival. The next, he had found himself thrust into leadership of 2 species on the brink of conflict. The path between those points had been filled with struggle, compromise, and hard-won trust. A young integrated child approached, one of the firstborn to parents who had both chosen enhancement. Neither fully human nor Vexari, she represented a truly new beginning. "Are you Captain Reed?" she asked, her luminescent eyes wide with curiosity. "I am," he replied with a smile. "My teacher says you were the first bridge person, the one who showed everyone how to be both." Jack kneeled down to her level. "That's partially true, but the real bridge isn't any one person, it's the understanding we build between us." The child considered this, then nodded solemnly. "I'm learning both histories, human and Vexari. Sometimes they don't agree about what happened. That's why we need people who can see both sides," Jack told her, "to help us remember that there's always more than one truth." As the child ran back to her waiting parents, one human, one Vexari, Jack felt a profound sense of accomplishment. The experiment that had begun with his abduction had transformed not just him, but the future of 2 species. From unwilling subject to reluctant leader, he had helped forge a path that neither humans nor Vexari could have found alone. And as the twin suns set over the Martian colony, Jack Reed, once a simple space marine, now something more complex, knew that the greatest journey still lay ahead. Not just for him, but for the hybrid civilization taking its first steps into the stars.